it's Tasleem here, and today's video is about how dance can connect us to the crown chakra and the divine. I actually meant to share this video with you a few weeks ago, but I realized that I had to come to terms with how shaken up my nervous system has been with everything that I endured in the past few months. For those of you who didn't watch my last video, you might not know what I'm referring to, but I was in a situation where I had to leave my apartment that I've been living in for the past 7 years, and not just the space that I was in, but everything I have to leave behind. My furniture, my clothing, my sentimental items, things that my mom had given me that were irreplaceable, appliances, my books, journals, photos. It was crazy, and it was all because of toxic black mold in my suite, but especially because of the way I was mistreated by my managers. They kind of claimed that they didn't know what was going on, and they waited for me to get so sick and so tired and so depleted that I lost so much weight and really had no other choice but to save myself and my health and really my life by getting out of there. And I didn't realize how, scary and disrespected I felt, like how scary the situation was and how disrespected I felt and how exhausted I was from all of it, until I kind of was out of that space and taking these past few weeks to just be grateful for what I have and what I came out with in terms of getting out of there and standing up for what I believe. And one of the things that really stood out for me was standing up for something that might not be seen, but I could feel. So this black mold was not something that was visual in my apartment, but it was visual on me, for myself and for other people. And it was also really apparent that there was something toxic in the air, from the smell, from the quality of the air, from the symptoms that I was experiencing. And it's really tough to stand up for something that you can't see or you can't show to other people proof of visually, but you can feel inside. Like my friend Hema likes to say, you just know like you know, like you know. And I just knew. It was scary when the results came out as toxic black mold, but I have to say that I wasn't surprised, and there were other people around me that weren't really surprised. And it kind of made me sad that I had to go through such lengths to prove something that kind of seemed apparent in terms of, the difference in the way that I was walking or breathing or living, or even like all my clothes being really heavy on me. And how this relates to this video today is that the crown chakra, which is located above our head, is really connected to, it's like an opening. It opens us up to divine downloads, to messages from a higher power. It also is where we get, connections to our beliefs, like what we believe. Often we can't see, whether it's a religious belief or a spiritual belief or a belief about, what happens with us after we pass away, or a belief that we hold really strongly within us that we can't show someone. We can't show them, like in a picture. But we also, it would be really hard to take that belief out of us if we really strongly resonate with it. And as much as it was sad to experience what I experienced in my apartment, I was so grateful that I was so connected to all these different chakras that I've talked about in the past that even up to my crown chakra, the 7th chakra, I was able to tap into what a higher power, if you'd like to call it that, or the universe, whatever you believe in, was trying to tell me. And I know that a big reason that I'm tapped into that is because of dance. I've shared with you in countless other videos that dance was the first place that I really think I connected to my body. I got a relationship with my body, and I started really feeling into like, what is my body telling me, and what feels good and what doesn't, and what is my intuition really saying. And I've talked about the different chakras all the way from the root chakra upwards, and now this crown chakra is really powerful, because in the midst of going through what I went through with my apartment, I didn't know how I was going to make it through. Like, even if I could make it out of there, like, I had to get rid of all my stuff, and I didn't have a new home to go to, and I was like thinking, where am I going to live, and how am I going to get my body back in balance, because the mold has really affected my health and ability to walk and dance, and that made me really angry. I didn't want to show up in these videos angry, so I thought I needed to wait a little bit to like share something a bit more positive. And then it really hit me that actually this feeling into the crown chakra and my connection to the crown chakra and my ability to download messages from the universe and trusting that the universe was going to help me find a new home and a new way to get back into health. That is absolutely what this video, what I wanted it to be about. And so now I'm showing up because I'm realizing, yeah, this is what I want to talk about. It's not that I'm not asking for someone to feel sorry for me for what I went through. I'm not, trying to put my anger out there or my fear or my sadness. What I wanted to share with you guys is that I didn't realize how much I built in a trust in the universe to help me through this. A lot of times we think that we have to do everything ourselves. Like, if something goes wrong, how are we going to get ourselves out of this? What do we need to do to fix it? Who's going to be there for us? We have to do this alone. And through many years of dance, I had built up a trust in the universe to have my back, to have me held, and to support me, and that I don't have to do it all by myself. And through that, even though I didn't know how it was going to happen, I had to give up my home that I thought was like my sanctuary, but I found this amazing place that is a temporary home for me, but it's still a new place for me to stay. And I finally have a bed. I haven't slept in a real bed for 3 months. And I don't know if you can tell behind me, I might be blocking some of it, but I have this amazing view of the city. I have these huge windows that I wake up to every morning. I never close the blinds because I'm so grateful to wake up to the sun and the water, and that I'm here. And I know I didn't do it myself. I know that the universe helped me. And the reason that the universe was able to help me was because I had an inner trusting that it would. The crown chakra is all about our connection to the divine, that we have a right to have a relationship with the divine. And divine for you could mean whatever resonates with you. It could be God, it could be a specific religion, it could be just a belief in angels or a certain type of spirituality. you could have your own specific belief in whatever higher power you really resonate with. And the crown chakra, when your crown chakra is open, you allow that support to come in. You know that you don't have to do it all yourself. And even when you're in like the darkest of times, you trust that something is going to come in to hold you and guide you. I really want to thank dance for helping me connect to that crown chakra. And, I've described in other videos how my relationship to my body and conversations with my body and really tapping in and tuning into my body because of dance and because of the grounding of it and because of just tapping into like my creativity or my solar plexus and really standing up for what I believe was really important. But when you go up towards the crown chakra, it's even like a whole other level, because you end up realizing that actually there are things that we can't see or prove on paper or take pictures of, but we know inside of us that they exist. And that's like a belief, a faith. And I have an amazing story to share with you about an experience that I had in dance that really taught me how connected I could be to the divine, to spirit. And I was so excited that it was in a experience, in a dance event actually, that I was taught this, or that I felt this. So it was 2015. There was a salsa festival in Vancouver, the first of its kind. Thank you, Cheyenne Cameron, who started these festivals, and all your team that made it happen. But I remember specifically it was the fall of 2015. I remember that because my mom had passed away in February of that year. I was completely a mess. I didn't even feel like I was really here. I kind of felt like a large part of me went with my mom. I didn't know whether I was living or, like where my spirit was. I felt like my heart was so centered with my mom. And I also felt guilty about doing things that were fun. Like I was thinking, okay, I want to go to the salsa festival because that's what I would normally do. But what am I doing at a salsa festival when my mom is no longer here? Like, I don't want her to think that I have just moved on and forgotten about her. And how do I answer people that say, like, just casually, like, how are you doing? Do I just plant this fake smile on my face when really, like, my heart is breaking and I'm grieving so, so deeply? But I went anyway to the salsa festival, and I'm sure now I can see that I was meant to be there. And I felt really hurt that someone that I thought was a friend who was teaching at the salsa festival actually told me, nobody wants to hear about your mom here. And he really hurt me, and I felt more of this, like, feeling or idea that I had to pretend that everything was better for me than it was. So I decided that I'm just gonna like hide from being social, and I'm gonna do the things that allow me to like hide within certain areas of the festival. So one of them was going to see these films that they were showing before the performances and before the social dancing. The films ended up being made by, they were films that were made by an artist that I hadn't heard of. He called himself La Epoca. And those films were actually based on the roots of salsa and also kizomba. And it was really interesting to me because I felt like, oh my God, whoever made these films and what the films are talking about really make me feel more connected, because they were really honoring the legendary artists that most of them were not alive anymore, but they're honoring their spirits, like that what we are doing right now in our dancing and our music actually came from them. And I felt like, yeah, like I want to honor my mom. I don't want her to think that I've just moved on and forgotten about her. And it really made me feel good that someone who was taking the time to honor where these dances and the music and the musicians came from. Then I went to see the performances, and again, I was standing back in the hall where the performances were happening, because I didn't want to get too social with the rest of the crowd. Actually, I'm going to backtrack a little bit. In between that, I went to a workshop. It was a workshop where there were less people in that room, and I was kind of excited because I'm like, I don't want to be in a space where there are a lot of people. And this seemed like a smaller group. I went into this workshop, and it happened to be the same person that had shown the films. His name is Josue Joseph, and like I said, he went by the name Epoca. He was teaching a mambo class, and it was really interesting because he was teaching the music and the rhythms, and at a certain point, for those of you who dance salsa, like most of the time you're either dancing on 1 or on 2, but we were dancing on 2.5. And I was like, this is kind of cool. Like, I felt like it really fit in with where I was at in that moment, because I didn't want to do what was familiar. I felt a bit like I myself was in a middle realm. Like, I'm not fully on earth right now because my mom's not here, and I'm kind of partly in heaven or wherever you go with spirit, like, because I want to be with my mom. And so dancing in this middle realm, 2.5, was kind of like, yeah, I feel that. Like, I felt really good about it, and it took me out of my grief and kind of into something new and ethereal almost. Like, I liked being in that middle space, and it felt good in my body. And then, so now I'm going to go into, so I go to the performances, like I said. So I'm standing at the back of the room, and I really want to avoid too many people and stuff. And this performance starts coming on, this music starts coming on. The room is really dark, and all of a sudden I hear like this piano and then some other instruments, and I see a dancer and then a second dancer come out, and they're beautiful. Like, it almost looks like lyrical and very flowy, and I had never heard this song before, and something was telling me, like, just stay there, like, listen to this. And so I listened, and the funny thing is that it was in Spanish, but I still could hear it. Yes, I'm talking about the instruments. I could hear them. They were really, like, doing something to me, but I could hear the words. Like, it doesn't make sense that me, this Canadian-Indian girl, Indo-Canadian girl who grew up only with English and some Indian languages, like listening to them, could hear and feel the message and the lyrics of these songs, of this song. It kind of blew my mind, because at a certain point I just had tears like running down my face. My whole face was wet, and at that point I didn't even care who saw me. I was like, where did this song come from? Like, and I realized that the person on stage is Josue Joseph, the same one that I took the mambo class with, and the same one that I was watching his films earlier. And I felt like this message was meant for me to hear. The lyrics were, no hay que llorar, el tiempo pasará, tú verás. Which means there's no need to cry, the time will pass, you will see. Then it went on to say, you will, so podrás abrazarme de nuevo, which means you'll be able to embrace me again. And I was so distraught over, I was feeling guilty, not only that my mom had passed away, but that I was out there going to dance. So I couldn't really dance. Like, it felt like I didn't want my mom to think I was forgetting her. But then the next lyric said, yo sé que no me olvidarás, which means I know you will not forget me. And it wasn't until today, well, not today, but in the last week before doing this video and hearing the song again years later, that I caught another line that I don't remember hearing before. And it said, podrás bailar de nuevo, which means you will be able to dance again. At that time, it would have meant a lot to me because I felt guilty for dancing. But at this time, it means even more to me because I have not been able to dance. And I realized that probably a lot of my issues with balance and coordination and stuff have actually come from the mold that I was experiencing in my apartment. And I haven't been able to dance, and I've even been having trouble walking. But hearing that message today, or in the last week or so, made me feel like the universe is sending me another message, that you will be dancing again. I don't know whether it's in this lifetime or the next lifetime. I don't know, but I'm taking that in. And at the time of first hearing that performance, I fully was taking in the message that I don't know where this song came from or who this artist is, but I feel like it was a message saying to me, like, as if the universe is saying, your mom wants you to know that you don't need to cry. You're going to be together again. And she knows that you're never going to forget her. Like, imagine that I'm at this place and I'm like, I'm not even supposed to understand this language, but I do because the universe wanted me to understand it. After that performance, I went and met Josue Joseph more personally in terms of like meeting him and his parents. I learned that he created that song for Chito Valdez, who was a friend of his father's who had passed away. The Chito Valdez had passed away. And that Josue's father is Alfonso Panama, he's a legendary bassist from the Palladium era. And they were so touched that their music touched me so profoundly. And it made me feel so good that instead of telling me, like my friend, who I thought was my friend, that nobody wants to hear about your mother here, Josue so eloquently put it, and I'm not sure if I'm going to butcher what he said, but it was something to the effect of music and the arts helps us to relive precious moments in our lives. And it also helps us to resolve issues that we might not have been able to resolve with people when they were here alive. So that actually you are meant to be here. It's not that nobody wants to hear about your mom. Like, they were so grateful that their music and their art could reach me in a way that they knew music and art has the power to do. And that really comes from our crown chakra being open to these messages. Our crown chakra being open to believing, to receiving guidance, to receiving support, to receiving messages, and to allow us to believe in whatever we believe. We don't have to see it. I didn't have to see the mold to understand that it was there. I didn't have to see my mom. I mean, I still sometimes wish that she would do this, but I didn't have to see my mom in front of me to understand that that song and that music I was meant to hear, and that message was meant for me to hear, and that I was meant to be at that salsa festival, and that I was meant to do dancing for all the years that I did it, because even if at this moment I'm not dancing the way that I want to, there are so many lessons, so many connections that dance has given me, not just with people, but also with my body and my intuition and the different chakras, especially the crown chakra, that have helped me trust that the universe is going to help me, that the universe is there for me, that I don't have to do it all myself. I was even worried about doing this video because I didn't want to come across angry or have you, think that I'm trying to have you feel sorry for me. I didn't want to come across negative. And I wasn't even sure if anything would come out properly. But I, again, was like, no, Tasleem, you're not doing this on your own. The universe is helping you, just like it helped you find a home, just like it helped you stand up for, that you're not going to stand for being in a toxic environment, and that you were able to get yourself out of there, just like it had you stay in that room at a salsa festival that you thought you weren't supposed to even be at. The universe is guiding you, and if you're open to it, if you're open in your chakra, in your crown chakra especially, it helps you be creative. It helps you get messages about creativity, about new ideas, about messages from heaven. It helps you have faith that things are happening for a reason, that you're here for a purpose, and that you don't have to do it all yourself. And I really owe so much to dance for helping me open that part of my energy system, because it has led me to some amazing things. It is connecting me to my mom in ways that I can't show other people, but I feel inside. And I know that it is going to help me to make that podrás bailar de nuevo. You will be able to dance again. I know that it's going to make that come true for me. Thank you so much for listening. I promise to be on here very soon again, and I wish you all a really great week. Let me see if I can turn this off. Okay.